researchers, students, and participants who have joined us today from different places. International House of Education is committed to promoting academic excellence, interdisciplinary research, and knowledge sharing through conference, webinars, and educational initiatives at national and international levels. We are delighted to host today's insightful online webinar topic on Beyond the Finger Beyond the Fingerprint Securing Biometrics Against Attacks. It is my privilege to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session. Dr. Abhishek Hajare, Assistant Professor, Department of CST and ISC AIML, JIS College, Kolkata. Sir is an academician research with over 16 years of industrial R&D experience in computer science, specialized in biometrics, questionnaire document analysis, artificial reality, perception engineering, and various branches in AI. Sir work spans areas such as multimodal biometric authentication and secure system design. The current research focus on emerging modalities, including era of biometrics. Sir have actively involved in teaching PG courses, mentoring students, and contributing R&D and projects. Delivering the invited talks area of computer vision and biometrics to various government. Sir engaged in developing practical AI-based solutions for innovation in applied systems like Scotch Awards, CSI, YITP Awards, OSS World Challenge, etc. Welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Bina ma'am, for such a creating such a wonderful platform. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. You are audible, clear, sir.
Uh,
You can go ahead.
and your commitment to the academic world, and all of you are from International House of Education, doing very wonderful job, and it's very nice and privileged to be part of you. And few of my students have probably also joined, and before starting the talk, I want to let all of you that I'm also eager to work with you. So perhaps after the talk, we can handshake and create some new research area or topic which I'm going to deliver. So let us start. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir. Please.
Okay. So, uh, so our for my today's lecture, pardon, ma'am.
Nothing, sir. Carry on.
Okay. So my topic for today's evening is biometric spoofing and anti-spoofing techniques. So in a nutshell, I'm going to talk some few modalities of biometrics, though nowadays a lot of biometric features, biometric modalities have been introduced, including physical and behavioral biometric, and some are popular, some are costly, some are less conventional, but all of them carries necessarily unique human characteristics. So in this context, let us first classify what biometrics is basically, for those who are already familiar and those who are not familiar. So biometric, bio means uh, life, and metric means measure. So something which we carry with our own body and with our own behavior, which is very much unique, and it varies from one person to another person. That is what biometric is. And nowadays we all are familiar what are the modalities, because every day when we are giving our fingerprint to a attendance system, or we are scanning our face to a restricted R&D facility. So all it is, overall it is biometrics. So my lecture today will contain the basics of biometrics, the various kinds of template protection techniques, as well as the definitions, how the biometric various kinds of biometrics are spoofed or forged by imposters. And then I'm going to give you a case study and how, and finally, how deepfake is evolving nowadays, and it is a serious threat nowadays. So let us proceed. So as I told that biometric is basically physiological or behavioral trait to verify a single person. It is obviously password free. That's why we carry the characteristics with our own body or with our own behavior. Why I'm saying this? Because the physical traits of biometrics, which is also named as physiological biometrics or physical biometrics, that comes from our say finger, our face, our human ear, human knuckle, palm print, footprint. All these are basically human body's features. So the all these are basically physical biometrics. Apart from that, a less conventional area of biometric is also there, which is called behavioral biometrics. So behavioral biometric means that kind of biometric basically exhibits humans behavior. That means if I am exhibiting something or I am performing something, like say I am typing on my keyboard, that is also a kind of biometric. It is called keystroke dynamics. If I am writing on a paper using pen and paper, or I am writing in a using a say kind of electronic stylus and a tablet, electronic tablet, that is also one kind of biometric. It is called signature biometrics. And also if I am talking, so that is also my human voice. It is also one kind of biometric. If I am walking, so that is walking pattern. Walking pattern from a person to another person, it also differs, and it also carries our unique walking pattern. That is also one kind of behavioral biometrics. So it is called human gait. So various kinds of biometrics are there. Some are popular, as I said, like say most popular and most cheaper kind of biometrics nowadays, all we know, it is fingerprint biometrics. But it is, as it is less costly, cheaper, but it carries also a lot of disadvantages. Though the market share is quite high, but it carries a lot of disadvantages. It can be easily mimicked, it can be forged. So there are anti-forging mechanisms are also there. Similarly, we nowadays we can see that face biometrics is a lot of popular, gaining popularity among the researchers, as well as some organizations are also using this face as a biometric attendance system or exam monitoring system or a restricted entry to a particular lab or secure places, or maybe some other financial transactions. Some in Germany, they have introduced signature-based biometrics. In Ben Gurion Airport, we have hand geometry-based scanners. So all these are basically physiological or physical biometrics. Apart from this, some non-conventional physical biometrics are also there, like the human iris, facial thermogram, knuckle, retina. All these are basically less popular but emerging biometrics. So why facial thermograms? I'm talking, as you see in the figure, that a thermal camera or an infrared camera that basically maps the human that maps the human temperature for each and every pixel for a particular person. So what is the difference between a thermal camera and a normal sensor based camera? So our, from an image of a sensor based camera, we basically take a 2D, or maybe if the images are if we combine them, then we can have the also 3D image. But from this image, we cannot map the pixel heat information. So that means, suppose as you see in the figure, my some facial part are quite red. It is pseudo colored. Why it is pseudo colored? Because the a particular thermogram basically has grayscale video or grayscale image of a particular person, and from that also we can see the heat information for each and every pixel. But as you see, it is pseudo colored, so we can easily interpret the image that the my facial part or my forehead part are comparatively blood flows more compared to our blood part or the ear part, because those parts are comparatively, as you see, it is bluish. At the most bluish part is the hair, because there is no blood flow activity. As the blood flow increases in the forehead segment, so the pixel temperature is comparatively higher. So that is why it is called thermal imaging, and for that facial thermogram are also gaining very popularity in biometrics, though some medical imaging applications have already successfully implemented the facial biometric. Pardon, it's medical imaging applications using infrared camera, right? Like breast cancer detection, cervical cancer detection, like say some other diseases which related to blood flow. All these, like say your diabetic foot, all kinds of diseases can be easily monitored using thermogram. And also apart from that, the knuckle is my like say is my the fingers. If I close my fingers, the top part is the knuckle. Human retina and footprint, hand geometry. If I raise my hand, and you see there is a palm print scanner in the image. So if I just open my hand like this, and there are gaps between each and every finger, and these gaps are very much unique for a particular person. So that kind of biometrics is called hand geometry based biometrics, and there are separate hand geometry based scanners which can be used to measure such kind of biometrics, and that has been already implemented more than a decade ago in Ben Gurion Airport in Israel. They are the technologically far superior than any of the countries, and they have successfully running all these in their every domestic kind of activities. And also apart from that, the vein pattern, the blood vessels distributed over our hand, there are separate scanners for this, and that is called vein pattern based biometrics. And you see in the bottom left figure, there is that is the image for a hand geometry based scanner. And at the top right end corner, we can see that I am using a Wacom Intuos type of tablet for writing a signature. And this type of signature pads are very unique, because they basically capture the human signature in image form as well as in time series form. Why I am saying time series? Because the XY coordinate, the pen pressure exerted on the tablet surface, the pen inclination angle, the azimuth and tilt information for a particular signer, all these are basically time series data. And whenever I am signing on the tablet, that curve, every point generated has an unique pressure sensitivity value measured sometimes within the range of 0 to 1024, and more high pressure sensitive tablets like this one, Wacom Intuos 540 black and white, they are also comes with the range of 0 to 2048 pressure sensitivity levels. So apart from that, there are azimuth and tilt information captured from a particular tablet surface. So all these are very much unique to a particular person, and there are capturing mechanisms as well as matching mechanisms which falls under the machine where we use machine learning or image processing algorithms, sometimes the deep learning algorithms, and we build the software based on that. But overall, there is the ultimate identifier which is called DNA. We all know what DNA is, but why DNA is not that much conventional, and why that is used in mostly the criminal investigations? Because they are very costly. That needs, number two is that needs ethical permission from the law enforcement agencies, mostly from the court. and they are not cheap. They are basically time consuming. So that's why it is not a very popular biometric DNA. But DNA is the supreme identifier. The successive rate of DNA is, I'll not say 100%, because why? Because every biometric is a probabilistic system. Whether we talk about fingerprint, whether we talk about any kind of biometric face, iris, any kind of biometric, it is a probabilistic system. And in a probabilistic system, we can't say, or in a machine learning system, we can't say that the system is 100% accurate. That is not possible. There are some false positive cases also possible, once in a million observation, or once in a 10,000 observation, once in a say 1 lakh observation. But false positive happens, right? So I will not say that DNA is the supreme identifier, but I will say it is supreme. Why? Because it never fails nowadays. The matching mechanisms are also improved, so it gives 100% almost accurate. But we can't implement in this in everyday's life. And it is also not uh, um, it is not a non-invasive mechanism, because we need to have your skin sample, or maybe your hair sample, and all these sample a particular crime investigation agency can't take in just like that, right? Because all these needs ethical permission taken from the court. And the same thing happens, same is the main same thing should be taken care of when we are collecting data from a particular person, whether that we are keeping all employees records and enrolling them to a particular biometric system. All of them should basically all of them should basically enroll themselves. And before that, the enrolling person should take the ethical clearance from the particular person. This is the standard operating procedure. And apart from that, the behavioral biometrics, if I talk about, like say voice or speaker recognition, signature dynamics, offline and online signature verifications, keystroke dynamics, gait analysis, and the human gesture, touch information, eye movement pattern, all these are basically behavioral biometrics. Now, if I look at the global biometric market growth, you can see by 2027, it is we are expecting a 36.2 billion growth in this market. So that is equivalent to the GDP of the half Africa, or it is the GDP of Kyrgyzstan, North Korea, your Syria, and Lebanon, and Saudi Arabia, not Saudi, it's at least 4 or 5 countries like this combined. So you can see the global biometric market reach, how it is becoming part of everyday's life. And if we, once again, if we dive into the biometric adoption sector wise, then we can see the highest adoption is in the security of banking and finance sectors. Nowadays, they have almost adopted 87% of the any one of the biometrics, or in a multimodal way. In government or in restricted R&D zones, like say any restricted CSIR lab, DRDO lab, all of them are basically using biometrics. And in healthcare also, in consumer electronics, in border control, we have 71%, because all the Western countries, they have secured their border using any kind of biometrics. Nowadays in India, we are lagging behind. We are using Aadhaar based authentications and all these offline verifications. But time will come for us also very soon, and we will see this adoption very soon. For the, obviously, for the security of our country. And in law enforcement also, we have seen the 69% adoption rate. Now, if we see the FAR and FRR comparison, so what are FAR and FRR? Because these two terms are very much important in biometrics. So FAR stands for false acceptance rate. So that means suppose I am not the person, and someone, I have enrolled into a particular biometric facility, and I am not the person. Someone comes and gives my name, for example, fingerprint, gives his fingerprint, and it recognizes that it is me, though I am not. So that is false acceptance. And false rejection, I'm giving my fingerprint into the system, but it is not recognized. That is called false rejection, right? So in that case, we have seen, if we see the FAR versus FRR curve, the rate of, in a log scale, we can see that the in case of voice-based biometrics, we have the highest false rejection rate. Because I'll talk about the reason why that is uh, happening. Okay, and in case of palm vein pattern, we see the false acceptance rate as the most lower, and in case of human iris also. But are we adopting palm vein or human iris? No, na. Why? Because they are not cheap, and they are not that much, like palm vein scanners are quite, quite. I mean, the price is quite high, and implementation in a small, in a small box way, it's difficult because the scanners are larger. It scans the whole palm vein, the blood vessel flow inside your hand. So that is a complex mechanism, and that happens for human iris also. Sometimes we place our eye near to the human iris scanner, and it emits the near infrared. So some organizations or some biometric experts, they are also not recommending this. Rather than fingerprint is quite easier, but it has a lot of disadvantages. But as it is cheaper and it can be implemented in an easy fashion, so where the implementation of the biometrics also depends on the particular use case scenario. So if my aim is to just enter, to certify a person for a particular attendance, or that not that much important task, so obviously I'm going to adopt a sorry, a small scale way, and I'll take the cheaper way. But if it is about the security, I'm not going to compromise anything, and I'm going to implement the most effective way of biometrics, or perhaps I'm going to implement a multimodal way. So that means fingerprint combined with face, or fingerprint combined with a smart card, fingerprint as well as iris scanner, to gain into to a particular restricted zone. Now, if I talk about the metrics, the various kinds of metrics of biometrics, though biometrics is basically a subdomain of AI, a very small subdomain of AI, which has implementations of image processing algorithms, computer vision algorithms, as well as machine learning and deep learning algorithms. But there are certain measures which are very much specific to biometrics. So they are like this: failure to enrollment. That means if a person, if I'm not able to, as an enrolling person, I'm not able to enroll that person, it is called FTE, failure to enroll. Failure to accept, FTA, or FTX, very important measure. If I am working on a particular biometric system, or I am doing some R&D to build a particular system, or I am doing any developmental research to write a very high quality research paper. So in that case, I need to report all these particular metrics to my research paper, or to my white paper, or to my software requirement specification, if I am engaged into the R&D software development. So FTX stands for failure to extract, or template generation failure. And we are already exposed to these terms: FAR, FRR. EER is the effective error rate. In any machine learning system, if the ideal situation is FAR is equals to FRR. The more lower is the FAR and FRR values, the system is much more efficient. So if I am reporting this value to my particular SRS, or reporting this value to my journal, so these values should be lower and it should be compared with other existing systems. These four are quite similar to us, like true positive, false positive, true negative, and false negative. So I believe these are not needed to for explanation, who are already believe all of you are exposed to machine learning. So, and all this standardization, I must tell you that they are as per ISO IEC 19795 documentation, which are basically biometric performance testing and reporting. Next, the metrics are VT, which is verification time, FNMR, false non-match rate. It is equivalent to FRR, but in ISO term, if because if I want to build a software or if I want to build a system, that particular system has to be ISO 9001 verified. Otherwise, it will not be produced for the market. And for market also, this TRL level, at least TRL level 8 or 9 should be reached. So TRL means the technology readiness level. So for a particular product, the TRL technology readiness level 8 means it starts from 1 comes to 9. So 9 is quite difficult for reach, but all these organizations who are selling products, they have obviously they easily reach to TRL level 9. For us like researchers or for government R&D labs, TRL 8 is quite higher. So that means you have already patented your system is running smoothly, it has been demonstrated, it has been also deployed, and you are earning money from this particular system. So that means you are at TRL level 8. So that has to be documented in ISO documentation. And here you can see a term is there, it's called verification. In any kind of just to remind you, in any kind of machine learning system, we have two types of modalities. One is called the verification, another one is called identification. So what is a verification? What is verification? So it is one-to-one matching. See, if I am Abhishek Hajra and I am matching my data to my only data, so I'm just matching my data to my pre-existing enrolled data, to my biometric, to the particular biometric system, and it is called verification. It's a one-to-one matching. My particular biometric is matched with my already existing template. While I have enrolled, that data is already there in the system, so it is a one-to-one matching. But the identification is it's a one-to-many matching. So I am not familiar whose data is this particular. I have the data, it is the test data, and I am matching the data with the existing data set. So each, and suppose in my data set contains 5 persons enrolled biometric data. So each one's data is being matched for that particular test data. And obviously, as I am explaining, it is quite evident that obviously identification takes a lot higher time compared to verification, right? Because it's a one-to-many matching. Now, how to, for this example, I had this problem in my system earlier, where I was building a one-to-many signature authentication system. So, how to resolve this issue? So in that case, you have to write a multi-threaded application for your biometric system, your own your particular data. If suppose there are in uh, uh, for example, for the sake of simplicity, let us assume that 5 persons data are there into the system, and my own data is the test data. So it's a 1 to 5 comparison. So for each comparison, I am going to run a particular thread. So my system is a multi-threaded, and each thread, as you know, that each thread runs parallel and runs independently. So time consuming is comparatively lesser, because if it is a single threaded application, so one to many matching takes a lot of time. Now the third is the I hope I am able to explain the whole thing. Now uh, am I audible properly? Because I'm not getting any responses. Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir. Carry on.
Okay, okay,
All are
great,
here.
great, 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 fine. So next is the template size and the as per fingerprint or the IEEE Biometric Society, they have given the template size would be lower than 2 KB for fingerprint or less than 50 KB for face or IDs data. So we can't use high resolution image for a very high uh, sensor, because that has to be normalized and kept in a proper biometric template. And like say GAR, genuine acceptance rate, it is basically computed as 1 minus FRR, false rejection, and then genuine rejection rate. Genuine rejection rate, GRR, 1 minus FRR. Right. Zero FAR, FRR. Another thing. For this is very important. Zero FAR, FRR, zero FRR, FAR. So FRR or false rejection rate, if I am going to build my system where false acceptance rate will be zero, I am assuming, because for high security scenarios, I can say that my biometric, it can fail, but no one can enter my biometric and goes into the system. For that, I am ready to sacrifice my biometrics sometimes if that is deviated from my enrolled data. I hope I am clear. So that is called zero FAR. So that is for high security scenarios. And another one is called zero FRR FAR. So if I measure my FAR based on the FRR equal to zero, so it is that false rejection rate will be zero. So my aim is to that whenever I give my fingerprint, it is just like that it recognizes, because just I need to just have a entry to the particular, maybe for my particular cabin where I am entering every day and I'm just getting out. It's just for a log, whether I just it's convenience focused system, right? So for that, so but for restricted entry, we are going to use zero FRR. No, there are also other biometric measures like enrollment time, how much time we are taking to register a particular user, the verification time, how much time it is taking. Usually, for an ideal scenario, it should take less than 1 second. The identification time, it is basically the searching time grows because the number of users are increased, the identification time also getting increased, right? Like say searching a particular user into a Aadhaar database. Okay, so millions and billions of data are there. So how to search in a millisecond? Is it really possible? So that is a food for thought. Now throughput, how much, all we know that how much users are processed per minute or per hour, and the latency is the delay between the input and the decision. Now if my model is quite complex, right, I'm using a very hybrid deep learning model, obviously the latency will be quite higher, though the recognition accuracy will be very high, mostly 98 99% more than that. I have some papers where I have all reported 98.23% accuracy, but the throughput is very less for that, right? So for a particular area, we need to sacrifice. There are no such model like it will be deployed like a lightning fast. It will work like a lightning fast, and it will give results in a nearly 100% accuracy, 98, 90. It is the ideal case, right? So it's very hard. Now there are also decision curve metrics, as we all know, like ROC curve, we all know. I'm just leaving it. This curve is particularly useful. DET curve, it is the plot of FAR versus FRR, and it is biometric friendly curve, because if we want to report something, the DET curve should be reported. And we all know the AUC, area under the curve, the more AUC value, your ROC curve is much better and the accuracy is comparatively better. And the D prime is the separability between genuine and the fake distributions. So more, it is like a kind of clustering technique. So more separable your clusters are between the genuine, it's a binary clustering, like genuine and the imposters. So more better is your biometric modality. Now, FMR is the false match rate, false non-match rate, FNMR, and zero FAR. is the it's used in two-factor systems. Spoof. Now this is very important because today's talk is on the spoofing. So spoof acceptance rate. The lower the rate is, the better is the biometric system. And here a question comes: how often a fake is accepted? Fake can be anything. We can use a deep fake tool. Nowadays, people are very busy in using deep fake technologies in creating the videos or images. Or we can present a silicon finger to a particular fingerprint and it is getting accepted. Or a recorded voice for a particular, it is called relay attack. I'm going to explain this in the later slides. And all these are basically represents the spoof, SAR, spoof acceptance rate, and UAR, user acceptance rate. Like it is subjective, but often measures via some surveys. And time to reset. If my biometric fails, how much time it is taking to recover, right? So for an ideal case, typically a very good presentable deployable biometric which we can deploy to a third party agency. For that, the FAR should be like this: once in a 1 million. So the false acceptance, this is given by the IEEE Biometric Society. They are saying the false acceptance rate will be once in a million. Its benchmarking is very high. Okay, FRR is less than 1%. EER, the effective error rate, equal error rate is less than 0.5%. Failure to enroll less than 1%. Verifications time will be the 0.5 second, and the template size, as I already told earlier, it's like this. Now, there are some biometric templates and standards, right? So there are some formal technical guidelines and provided, and these are basically, they typically define the kind of data formats and the performance evaluation metrics and security and privacy requirement. As you see, there are ISO, International Standards Organization. They have provided various kinds of template formats. As you see, 19794, this template represents the template format. Various kinds of templates for face, for iris, for voice, various kinds of formats are there. For evaluation, 19795, how you are going to evaluate your biometric system. And for most important, for today's topic, 24745, how we are securing our biometric template. That guideline has been provided here. Now, for if we briefly explain this thing, like for template, how to protect my biometric template. Suppose, let us let us talk about an use case. Like say, suppose I am using a fingerprint biometrics for my everyday's work. In my say college, people are, as the professors are coming, they are going to their department, they are giving fingerprint biometrics. Somewhere in HR section, it is being recorded. Fine. But there is some person who are going to ensure that this particular biometrics, they are kept in a well arranged, and it is kept in a very safe way, right? So for that, there are various kinds of standards, and we can't sell our system until and unless we conform to this particular IEC 2475 745 template security format. So there are 5 things which are very important, like template inversion, cross matching between databases, replay attack, database breach, and insider attack. So let us discuss one by one what are they. So sorry. So template inversion is basically like when we are reconstructing the original biometric trait, like a fingerprint or a face image from the stored template. So my data is, so what I am trying to mean is that my data is stored, and from that stored template, we are trying to reconstruct the original biometric. So it is very tough. And this, if we are going, I'm not saying, sorry, it is not tough, but if I'm going to do this, so this basically compromises the privacy, because in template, if I keep the images in sorry, just like that way, So this basically compromises the privacy of those biometric images. So they have to be either they have to be encrypted or they have to be placed in a proper way. And I'm going to discuss one by one. So this is called template inversion. So we can't inverse, like say, suppose for an image, we can do the it is the image is in, we can apply spatial domain operators and we can transform the image to the frequency domain. And whenever we are done with the working with the frequencies, we can bring back to the spatial domain. So it is inversion. So similar way, if I am playing with the images and I am going to reconstruct the images to create more biometric images, artificial biometric images, or in just like that. So that is called template inversion. It is also considered as an attack as per this IEC standard. Next, sorry, I will just have some water. Next point is cross matching across the databases. So if I am comparing biometric data across different databases, to identify the same person like me, my data has been scattered across various databases, and I'm trying to identify myself. So without any consent, because I'm basically putting my head in each of the databases, na. So this is without if there is no consent, and I'm just browsing through those databases. So that is called cross matching. So this can lead to privacy violation. Third is called the replay attack. Very, very interesting. Like, say we are reusing the previously captured biometric data. Suppose I just pick any one of you and just tell him or her to utter some words. I'm talking from the voice biometric point of view. And those words are recorded, and I am using some any kind of intelligent software like via voice from IBM that is can be used to construct a particular sentence. If I am having the all those recorded voices, some recorded voices which can be merged, and I can predict using the deep fake, I can predict a particular person's uh, natural tone, and I can mimic that. Okay, so apart from that, speech to text or text to speech, I hope all of you have heard of this, and these are also kind of generating artificial voices. So they are called replay attack. So if I am using a text to speech generator, and I am basically mimicking a particular person's voice, so students are not encouraged to do this, but for your own understanding, you can do this. Use a particular text to speech and use that voice for a particular person. Okay, so that is called replay attack. And now database breach, it's very common nowadays. We can see various sites in like, for example, everyday government of India sites are under attack every day. There are various hackers across the globe, mostly from China. They are trying to target. So they are secure, but breaches are happening. Okay. So unauthorized, I heard of an incident a few days ago where the AIMS Delhi website was attacked. So all data were pulled off, and it was a Chinese domain attack. So unauthorized access to a biometric database can also, where templates or personal data are stolen, leaked or modified, like that can lead to very serious privacy risk. And the insider attack. This is very, very serious issue. This is very, very serious because suppose I am the particular enrolled person for a particular biometric modality, and I am misusing of access privilege because I had the privilege. So I am using some employee's information and taking the privilege because I am the administrator, and I am stealing and using his or her data to alter or leak the biometric, or I am using it in my own way to make some harm for that particular person. That also has to be taken care of, because your biometric system has to ensure that. Because I'm talking about from the system or the software point of view or the system point of view, where we are going to deploy the system or the software, that has to be IEC 24745 conformity. I hope I'm clear up to this point. Hello. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Now, so what are the core requirements? First is irreversibility. So it should be computationally infeasible to reconstruct the original biometric sample, as I told, the fingerprint image. So I have some fingerprint image. So from that, I am using any artificial perturbations and I am generating synthetic fingerprint samples. So this can be easily done. I will show you one work that in where I have attacked one CNN, a hybrid CNN. And just think of this, that CNN was giving 91 point something accuracy, and it beat already beat two benchmarked deep learning techniques. But whenever I attack that particular CNN, that accuracy falls down to 80%. I'll show you how this how this is happening, right? So irreversibility should be stopped. Unlinkability, templates generated from the same user, it should not be linked across various applications. They are saying, and the renewability. One kind of cancelable biometric. No, I think for today it's not possible to cover all 81 pages. So I will just try to finish as early as possible. How much time I have in my hand, madam? Okay, so in that context, I'm just asking for another 10 to 15 minutes, if it is possible. So 10 minutes maximum. 8:40, I'll try to cover. So I'll skip all these protection mechanisms and all these things, and I'll let me just go through the all slides. Like now, how and where this biometric system architecture can be attacked. Like we can attack at the sensor level. We can capture raw biometric data. At that point, sensor level we can attack. It's called sensor spoofing. We can tamper the feature at the whenever the features are computed, and the template whenever it is generated, so we can directly dive into the, I mean, we means the imposter can directly dive into the template and can generate the database injection. And the matcher part also, we can, I mean, the imposter can intervene as well as the at the decision level also. If the decision is positive, then the imposter can also intervene and can change the this thing, I mean, the decision. So this is spoofing success rate by the modality. And as we see that the fingerprint being a very cheap option, it can be 82% spoofing attack can be generated. Voice is nowadays, it is 91%, 89% for face spoofing and all these things, right? So less is 3D face, because advanced attack have succeeded up to 34%, and and more on. So it is the overall summary that 89% of biometric system, they lack anti-spoofing technique. So it's a very emerging area of research. 46% false acceptance rate with printed photo attack. I'll show a small demo. A 22 billion biometric market, but cannot be captured right now because of this non-presence of anti-spoofing and printed photo attacks. And the deep fakes are increasing also. That is also a very crucial thing we are going to cover, as well as the artifact attack, which happens in that if we use the latex finger or the 2D photo in facial biometric or the 3D mask. for a particular person, that can easily spoof the face biometrics. Adversarial attack is a very well-known attack which can generate perturbations to fool the any kind of deep learning models also, or even can hybrid model also. Digital injection, deepfake attacks, and replay attacks in biometric signals can also do. So these are common fraudulent scenario. I'm going to just skip this where the vulnerabilities are happening, already discussed. Let me dive into the fingerprint spoofing. Okay, so how we are spoofing? So before that, these are the fingerprints where we can have various kinds of features like arch, loop, fold. As you see, there are crossover, bifurcations, ridge ending, island, delta, pore. All these are fingerprint features. So it is very extremely useful biometric, but that has to be there has to be anti-spoofing technique introduced. So in this context, as we see, there are four kinds of fingerprint biometric sensors nowadays. Optical mostly used, and we have seen a lot, very much vulnerable to spoofing. Then we have the capacitance based CMOS sensor, like for example, nowadays the mobiles are also built with that. uh, One example is Samsung Galaxy On Next. I used to have one that came with a capacitance based fingerprint. Then the thermal sensing, it is comparatively better. Most better is the ultrasound sensing. That is basically, mm, uh, uh, it's not cheaper, but has a very high success rate. But for acquisition, we need to ensure the live scan. That is the real-time fingerprint we are giving, and that has to be ensured, right? And these are called minutia. As you see, we in how the features are computed, the finger print images. From that, we are basically generating a graph-like structure, and that in that graph-like structures, all the features are mapped as a vector with having magnitude and directions in all 360-degree format, and that is format is called minutia. So these minutia we are taking, and there are various kinds of feature computing mechanisms from this minutia, and that minutia is very much important to if we need to extract from the fingerprint images, because after computing the minutia, we apply the machine learning model at the feature selection or the other models for application. So now there are one-to-one verification and one-to-many applications for fingerprint. And now this is fingerprint recognition, how it is worked. So we extract all the patterns, rich patterns, core and delta references, and frequency and all these things, and we use for that say, various kinds of sensors, as already told. Now, this is the vulnerability detection in fingerprint. If we are using the optical based sensor, it is at 42% risk, and the mostly lower part is the thermal based biometrics and ultrasonic. Okay, so optical sensor always carry the highest risk, though they rely purely on the 2D surface of images and making them easy targets, whereas the ultrasonic sensors are very hard to prove because they are basically measuring the 3D surface ridges of for my fingerprint. Now, fingerprint spoofing methods. There are various kinds of fingerprint spoofing methods. Like, say, if we can form the DEE, sorry, the latex fingerprint, we can create the negative mold. Okay, and we can create the gelatin or silicone, all these things. Okay, so that can be and we wear that on our real finger, and we can fool the optical and capacitance based sensors. Okay, that is possible. Now, basically the idea is that we can create a 3D artificial finger, and it basically mimics the real fingerprint pattern. So for that, a fingerprint pattern is captured, latent print or direct impression, and by using that mold, we have seen the children's playing with dough. So that can be used, a mold can be created. The imposter can easily use all these things on optical and capacitance based sensors. And there are flexible materials like gelatin, latex, as I told. They form a fake fingertip, and the fake is placed over a real finger, and you can place the fingerprint sensor. That can be easily fooled. So why it works? Because it mimics the ridge valley structure, right? So it can fool, as I told, ki optical and capacitance, and obviously this is a limitation. So high quality sensors with lightness detection can detect it, though the durability is comparatively low, because the mold can be teared, it dries out, because it has some what should I say? It should not dry out. That is what I'm saying. Now, if I, apart from that, if I see the 2D printed spoof, a flat printed fingerprint image that is used to trick the sensor. Okay. And so high resolution fingerprint image is printed. It is enhanced with some conductive materials to simulate the electrical responses, and it is presented before the scanner. So it is works optical sensors, because why? Because optical sensors checks the only surface pattern. Okay, so it can easily fool the optical sensors, and they are obviously low cost. And apart from that, wood glue can be used, and finger is placed into, as I told, key children playing like a dough or glue, so that hardening it forms a particular very fixed mold, and it can be used directly to create a replica. So mold is permanent, and whenever I place synthetic materials like say dough and all these kinds, every time the fingerprint can be spoofed. So, so this is the effectiveness of the spoofing material in terms of success rate. So you see the 3D print and the gelatin has the highest rate of success rate to attack a particular optical sensor, right? So now so what are the advanced fingerprint attack techniques? So there are, instead of copying one person's fingerprint, attackers generate synthetic fingerprint that match many people. And how it is worked? So for that, we can use the GN, or generative adversarial network, to create fake fingerprints. So synthetic print, because it matches only 65%, but it is the, if we use the GN, it exploits the fact that that the partial prints are not fully basically unique, right? So so apart from that, 3D printed fingerprint also, they are highly accurate in creating the replica. Okay, and photopolymer resin is used for that, right? So in earlier, I have seen such kind of attack scenarios in a particular. I visited the Tripura Forensic Science Laboratory in Narsingar. So in their Forensic Sciences Division, I had a visit. So I have seen such kind of replicas. Those criminals have used, and they came to the forensic lab for evidences. So they are basically printed using, so imposters are everywhere. That is what I'm saying. So photopolymer resin is can be used, and for that also template reconstruction, and internal people can easily use the template reconstruction and attack. Now let us come to face recognition attacks. So in face recognition, we can use the photo or 3D mask or adversarial imaging or any kind of injection attack. So so this is how we compute a face recognition. We do the computations in a face recognition system, where the eyebrows, the different distance between two eyebrows, the two eye tips, the nose tips, distance from the nose tips to the eyebrow, all are measured, and they are also a graph-like structure is made, and thus the face recognition is being done. So what kind of attacks are done in face recognition pipeline? So what are the vulnerabilities? So we want to locate face in a particular image or video. We do the alignment, we extract the features, because CNN, we already know that it does the 128 D embedding, and then we match using any cosine or Euclidean distance based metric. So face spoofing attack, in adversarial imaging, where adversarial attack is basically where we create the synthetic samples, okay, artificial synthetic samples, and printed photo is also there. So as we have very limited time, let me just show you one trueface.ai video. So I hope the video is visible.
No, sir. Video is not. One second. Yeah, sir. Video is visible.
Video visible, na?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Okay, no issue, but the video is visible, na? So where we can see that the, I hope my voice is clear. Just a second. I'll play once again. Now, is it coming? Voice is coming?
No, sir. No voice.
Okay, okay. Okay, so it's a demo from the trueface.ai. I don't know why the sound is not coming. Anyways, they are just trying to use a very high resolution figure in front of their inbuilt system, and as you see there, that is successfully detecting the spoofing. So it's a work is going on. So and they are successful in deploying such kind of system. So let me just take two more instances, one from iris and retina spoofing and another case study from behavioral biometrics. Then we will close by 8:45 as we have very limited time. So, so iris and retina spoofing, as we have seen that iris is basically this colorful colored ring around the pupil of the eye. We all know that is the iris, and we have different iris color. So that is also a valid biometric, and this is the example iris image. And as you see, this is the Heathrow Airport iris verification system, and there is a company called Invision. They have they have successfully deployed one iris verification system, and so it is already deployed systems are there over iris. And as you see, this is the workflow diagram of a iris recognition system, where we capture the image, we segment the image, because image from the particular eye, we need to extract the image of the iris. That's why segmentation, image segmentation is needed. And then we normalize it using the template provided by IEEE or provided by ISO. And then we encode the feature and we match the feature. We build our model and match the feature with the already stored iris database. And finally, we take a binary decision whether to accept or to reject the particular person. Now, what kind of iris attacks can happen? Okay. So, sir, I will just take 5 more minutes, then we'll go to the question and answer session. So, please help just for a 5 minute.
Okay, sir. No problem.
Uh,
Carry on.
uh, so, the defenses are there for liveness detection, multispectral imaging, challenge response, and NIR or the deep learning pad. Okay, because we have 266 unique features extracted from iris, very low equal error rate, 42% print attack success. But if the model is strong, then we can reduce the obviously attack, and it's nearly cost $50. It's nearly 5,000 rupees for contact lens spoofing. Okay, it's not that much. Obviously, that not that much costly. Okay, now for voice recognition also, if my voice is recorded, I'll just give a just small kind of this thing. And obviously voice recognition, they are already built in Alexa or Amazon Echo, we have already seen. Here are also we have two modalities: one to one verification, one to in, that is identification. We have replay attack, voice conversion, and TTS synthesis, that is takes I mean, we clone the voice from few text to speech synthesis. We clone the voice using any kind of modalities, like we have WebNet, a very recent deep learning model which can be used to TTS attack, WebGlow. So much models we have. Okay, so now this is very alarming. You see that in nowadays the if we see the detection effective error rate and the all these the year trend, and over the years we see they are basically the effective error rate is very low in voice spoof detection. So nowadays we are successfully building voice sample. So as I am talking, my voice sample can be easily mimicked. Okay, so there are other deep learning models to spoof, making the spoof of my voice. Okay, so adversarial attacks also can be done, and this is one of my recent publications where it's not published yet, so I can't talk so much. So where I'm using the audio anti-spoofing using a very hybrid transformer technique, and I'm successful in spoofing detection up to 96 point something percentage. Okay, so up to that only I can talk. Now there is one called signature authentication. Now this falls under behavioral biometric. So this can be done in static, in offline way, and the online way. So online means we are writing on a stylus and electronic stylus and tab, and offline means we are doing it the conventional way using pen and paper. So what are the problems in behavioral biometrics, especially in the signature? Because we have already ambient noise, temporary changes, signatures can change temporarily, as walking pattern can change, as voice can change, because I'm aging, my aging is happening, my voice is changed. As I'm growing older, my voice change. I'm growing older, my signature change. Okay, now these are ambient noise images. Now this is I have just kept it my signature on a particular system where I can sign in I'm signing on, you see, I'm signing in a 6 different ways. So it has a lot of intra-class variability in my signature. So how to cope up with this? Because the original person is having so much variety in the particular signature. Then just see, this is a gold mine for a particular imposter, right? Because the particular class has so much variability, even intra-class and inter-class variability, so it will have. So in that case, imposter has a very high chance. Now hand trembling, another problem in signature biometric, like say Alzheimer's disease, in dysgraphia, Parkinson's disease, Huntington disease, all these cases, the hand trembling always happens. Signature changes over time. I'm just showing you two signatures of two very popular persons. One is the Richard Nixon, US president, in format those days, 1968 to 74. You see, when he's growing older and when his regime is coming to end, he's losing his confidence. That's why the signature has been rapidly changed. See, 1968 signature, 1974 signature. George Washington, when he was 17 years old, and when he was president, signature is changed, because when he is president, he is so much stressed, so much decision has to be made, people lives depends on the decision. So it basically changes changes human behavior also, human psychological, human cognition also. That is what I am trying to say, and that affects the handwriting because it is a very complex neuromuscular dynamics. Now the aging effect, it also affects the handwriting. Now how the forgery can be done, because there are three types of forgery. Blindfolded forgery, where the imposter does not know the name of the person, just randomly signing for the particular person, success rate very low. Semi skilled forgery, where I know the name of the person and I'm signing for the person. And third one is very crucial, is called skill forgery. I have the signature with me. I know how he signs or she signs. I'm just a skilled forger and I'm just copying the forgery in pen and paper and using the stylus also. This has a very serious consequence. And you see how adversarial attack can happen for a particular signature verification case. See what I am doing here. I'll just stop after explaining this. See, I am introducing adversarial attack on a particular person's handwritten signature. Okay, first one is called copy move forgery. You see, Mridu Smita Mitra is the name, and you see the surname is copied and placed on the name itself. You see, Mitra Smita Mitra is the name, because Mitra surname is copied here. It's called copy move forgery, but the pattern is same. Writing pattern, you see, you can't just like looking at the signature, you just can't you will not be able to understand whether it is Midushmita or Mitushmita. This is called copy move forgery. Nowadays in India, lot of happening copy move forgery. Now see the insect damage impression generated by adversarial attack. Picture number B. Okay, all these I have done in adversarial attack using a hybrid CNN. Okay, now you see the number C. It's a random strikeout. Okay, it has been done in a manual way, and the coffee or tea stain. Now that is what I'm talking about. I proposed a method with accuracy of 91.35%. Why I'm showing the result? Because you see what is happening. Triplet CNN, I have beat that. ResNet 50, I have beat the model. In VGG 16, I am almost near to VGG 16. If I fine tune my proposed method, it will beat VGG 16 also. And DenseNet also. Attention based CNN to almost near. Now, whenever I am attacking my actual CNN, hybrid CNN, with such type of adversarial perturbation, see the final accuracy drops to 80.62%. So that indicates that my model is not spoof. I mean, it is not proven from the spoofing. So that has to be taken care of, because if I'm thinking of a system, I'm thinking of a software which are going to be deployed in a real life world. So this has to be taken care of.
Excuse me, sir. Sorry
Yes.
for the interrupt you, sir. Sir, time is running out, sir. You'll please finish another 2 minutes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Students,
So this
thank you,
is
sir.
my okay, okay. So this is my last image. So how
Okay, sir.
I'm
Okay.
Mhm. So how we are basically introduce various forgeries like polish effect, copy move forgery, overlapping an signature onto another signature. We erase some part of the signature. We produce tea coffee stain, as I told, insect damage, feature point blurring, feature point removal, and all these penmanship error, shadow effect, and we have seen that the overlapping has the highest attack success. So overlapping a particular signature to do this, it has reduced the accuracy rate of my classifier. So there are other techniques, defects. I don't have that much time. So let us stop it here, and let me take some questions, ma'am.
Yeah.